Man, sometimes I just feel like that character from that classic 1970s movie that keeps getting pulled back into things every time they want to leave. Oh, what's his name? What's the movie? The one about the shark, Jaws, right? All right, well, welcome back to the Spector Creative channel, and yep, here we go yet again with another video about the Ghost Rider Wheels of Vengeance Haslab project. But there's a reason for this because, well, Hasbro has once again moved the goalposts, and people are asking why. And that's what I love doing on this channel, explaining the why, not just, calling Hasbro cheap. Because they're not. They're a Fortune 500 company. They have to do what they have to do. Okay, Robbie Reyes, the human form, right? So this was the publicity shot that they've been showing, that they said, oh, we're going to offer this figure as a bonus figure if you're an early bird backer. And the early bird goal was not reached, and the human form of Reyes was then removed. Well, lo and behold, new images of Robbie Reyes now holding pipes has shown up, and that's because Hasbro is now saying, well, we're going to include the pipes and the head and the little neck scarf thingy. Did they get that from Moira McTaggart? I wonder. And yeah, here it is in a group shot showing all the pieces you're now going to get. Piece count has increased. So while you may not get a standalone figure, you'll be able to transform Ghost Rider into his human form. Well, this is a bit of an issue because, well, it's kind of like a, hole in a dam bursting, because something that once stood firm is now changed. Now, full credit where credit is due to Jay Cochran from MarvelousNews.com, who kind of broke this. I don't know if he's the first one to break it, but he does a great job reporting it. You should definitely patronize his site. And well, essentially, these new PR images showing the Robbie Reyes head on the Ghost Rider body, essentially the same figure, but now you just get one figure. And obviously, some fans are happy about this, but others are being like, liar, liar, you said we weren't going to get this if the early bird goal wasn't going to hit, and now you've changed things. This isn't the first time this has happened, and that's really what the issue is. Back when Haslab did the Unicron figure, it was really struggling to hit its goal. And the thing with Unicron is this is Hasbro IP. They own it. IP means intellectual property. And having something they own not go forward was really going to cause problems for the value of the brand and showing that it couldn't hold up. So towards the very end, suddenly the deadline got extended, and extra things like a digital comic bundle and some little mini slug figures of Galvatron, and I think it was Rodimus Prime. I don't know. I didn't get Unicron because I have no place to put him, as much as I am a fan of the 86 movie and would have loved that. Although, would I have ever transformed him? Maybe once. I don't know. But the point is, at the very tail end of this project, we got extensions of the deadline and additional items that weren't part of it to try to entice you because Hasbro couldn't let this one fail. All right, well, we can't make a video like this without calling a kettle black because as brand manager over Mattel's DC line, there were some similar issues, and I should fess up to them and explain them why they were different and not really the same thing. So let's look at the Doomsday figure that we offered for DC Universe Classics. When you say one thing and mean your mother, a Freudian slip. All right, so we had this tier system for Doomsday with the subscription that if you hit tier 1, we would do the less expensive tooled jumpsuit version or containment suit. And if we hit tier 2, more subscribers, we would have been able to do the Unleashed version. Well, we didn't hit tier 2, and so the containment suit version, which was less expensive to make, less tooling, could use a lot of parts from Kilowog's body, and he came in this great Frank Varela design box that straight out of one of Doomsday's early appearances. Now, I being a collector as well, we all kind of wanted a bigger Doomsday because the previous DC Superheroes one was out of scale, and eventually we were able to release this and even plussed him up with ripped Superman's cape, which was a requirement from Warner Brothers in order to do something even more different. Now, the reason we were able to offer this wasn't, throwing egg in the face of people who didn't subscribe. It was because of this. It was because of the Superpowers program. So because we were able to release a wave of figures with zero tooling, these were all redecoed figures on vintage packaging way before Marvel Legends was doing this, thank you very much, but this is what allowed us to have the tooling for Doomsday and also release the, Green Lantern version of the Riddler and the Super Amigos card, one of my absolute favorite toys I've ever worked on. So we had to balance the P&L, the profit and loss statement, and by not having tooling with these 6 figures, it allowed us to put tooling towards the Unleashed Doomsday. Now, This is a little different from things like the subscription-only figures we did that we swore we would not re-release as honor for the subscribers. And Shadow Weaver's a great example because fans begged and pleaded for us to re-release her, but the thing is we told fans she would only be released for subscribers, and as brand manager, I kept that promise and was very adamant about that. Now, there was a cartoon version of Shadow Weaver released later on, but it was different, totally different sculpt, and different accessories. But like all the sub-only figures, they were only for subscribers. They were never re-released. I mean, not that there was really demand for the unnamed one to be released, but we probably could have re-released Wondar, maybe even with different accessories, but we didn't. And we did that deliberately because of a promise made to the fans to entice them to subscribe that these figures would be for subscribers only. So if you wanted to get King He-Man, you had to subscribe that year. There was no other way to get him, and he was never released ever again. I mean, there was a mini of him, but that was totally different. It's all about credibility, and having credibility with your audience, your fan base, is obviously incredibly important. And when any company, whether it's a toy company or a fabric company or a fireplace company, goes against their word, you lose credibility with your fans, and everybody, well, you know, it's like Yoda said, once you start down the dark path, forever will it dominate your destiny. And that's totally true, and that's a big reason why Shadow Weaver was never re-released, is because we made that promise, even though we could have sold a zillion of them. All right, so the big question then is why? Why is Hasbro changing the goalposts mid-term, if you will, or in the middle of this when they didn't hit that early bird and are now finding a way to release the human form, hoping to bump up the sort of hemorrhaging tiers or backers? And it's all because of partnerships. So a big part of that is the license partner relationship between the IP owner and the manufacturer. In this case, we're talking about Marvel/Disney and Hasbro. Marvel owning, or Disney owning Marvel and owning Ghost Rider. Now, there are things you work together to make these things happen, and sometimes licensors require manufacturers to make certain things and basically say, you're going to make this. Lucasfilm is a classic example. Now, when toys go on clearance, if it's your own IP, or at least IP that you own before it expires, that's one thing, because you don't have as much, issue with it. But when it's a licensed brand that goes on clearance, well, that damages the brand. It damages the relationship, the licensor, the IP holder, the manufacturer, and the retailer. And having licensed product go on clearance or have things change like this, well, time is also money. And the amount of time that went into designing and creating all these PR shots, obviously it wasn't tooled, but you're looking at a sculpted model. So a good way to put it is, if you're familiar with the Horatio Hornblower series, I'm a big fan of them. There's one particular story where he runs into a French agent who is going to free Napoleon from Elba, and he has to lie to him and tell him that Napoleon's already dead. He's not dead yet, and by lying, he realizes he's going to have to go back, even though he's saving England, he's going to have to go back there with his head totally honorless. Well, it turns out that Napoleon actually died in the course of this, and he didn't even know about it, so everything is fine. But he was prepared to give up his word of honor in order to save England from a potential, Napoleon coming back. So besides the whole, word of honor thing, there's also brand building and the fact that you can devalue a brand. I mentioned earlier about when items go on clearance, but the same thing applies when an item isn't funded. It hurts the brand, it hurts the IP, it hurts the IP owner and the manufacturer. And Hasbro has had a string of unfunded Haslab projects. So essentially, they need these to go forward in order to please licensors and keep brand valuable, but the cost of trust to the fan base, and that I think is a bigger issue. And with fans pointing out that this kind of makes him a liar, well, that is a long-term issue and one that remains to be seen how that's going to affect Haslab in the future. I hope this video explained a little bit about the rationale and the business reasons for this. If you like this video, please do share it with others. It's the best thing you can do to support this channel, and I most appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching, for commenting, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Hopefully not another Haslab Wheels of Vengeance video, I hope.